this trend? That why have we been waiting for so long that we've not had commissioners appointed? We're having just a list of caretaker committee chairmen.
Not even local government elections.
Why is this so? Why are we having this issue in Oyo State? And it's relatively just in some of the few states in this country, not virtually every other state. They are up there and they are doing their thing. But is this not drawing the state backwards, where we tend to move forward in one aspect or the other? Why are we still lagging behind? Will His Excellency the Governor still do everything by himself, or the needful has to be done? This is what we'll be checking out this morning on Rise and Shine. Almost 1 year, and we're looking at about 8-9 months into this new administration now. And still, is it just a sole thing being run by the governor of the state, or this is just constitutional, where you can definitely do this on your own? Or is it that the government and the governor is just trying to manage resources that, okay, look, I'll rather take the burden upon myself and then let me do it. Ayo Fagbemi in the house this morning. All right, well, once again, welcome Ayo Fagbemi.
Thank you very much.
What's the effect of not having the right people at these different ministries in a state? Does it have any effect?
I think it does. In political science, it's quite defined. When you say government, it's a conglomerate of several components. Now you have the executive, you have the legislature, you have the judiciary. Within the executive, you have so many branches. You have the commissioners, you have special advisors, you have the civil service. So it's not debatable. It's not something that you can start debating. As a matter of fact, if we say that so person is the governor of a state, of course it is assumed that that person is heading a government. So one man cannot be a government on his own. It's not possible. You can't be a head of yourself. You are heading a structure. So that structure is there, but it's empty. It's like an empty barrel, so to say.
Well, why do you think the governor has now appointed commissioners and local government chairmen? Do you think he has any special reason for this?
But I think in the infinite wisdom of the governor, because it belongs to a party that believes in all. They believe they know all and they can do all. So I think in his infinite mercy, he would be able to explain to us why he has chosen to be commissionerless and to be local government chairmanless, if I'm permitted to use that word. But let me go into retrospect. Retrospectively, in the course of the victory of His Excellency the Oyo State Governor in 2011, when people started to accuse him of not organizing a democratically elected local government administration, he tried to explain to Oyo State indigents who cared to ask questions then that he was not going to do it because there were cases in court. There were injunctions, and they said the judges said the status quo should be maintained, and he has stood on that premise all through his first term, the first tenure, which lasted for 4 years, 2011, 12, 13, 14, 15. But on good authority, I was made to understand that that judgment had been vacated, that injunction had been vacated, and the parties to the case were told to settle out of court. That was late last year, sometimes last year, maybe mid last year. So if the governor won another election last year, April 11, and was sworn in 29th of May 2015, I think if he really wants, if he's interested in having the third tier of government, which is the local government, I think by now what we are going to see is his efforts making sure that this level of administration is put in place. But from what we are seeing, I don't think the governor seemed to be interested. Though late last year, he said he promised the Oyo State indigents that between June and July 2016, there will be a local government election or local government elections in Oyo State. It now becomes a baffle that the same person who promised local government election between June and July is coming out with a list, transmitting a list of caretaker members and chairmen to the House of Assembly. It seemed to be, there's something curious about that. If you're interested in organizing election, why caretaker members? This is late February. We are moving into March, and the electoral law says that all parties involved in an election at the local government level must be given 3 months of notice to prepare. So if you are promising election in June, July, why, and you are putting in place a caretaker committee government, then when do you want to start planning for the elections? So some minds will want to ask: are you sure the governor really means what he's saying? Does this seem he means, because this is what he has been promising for years, which he did not do. So on what authority are we going to be saying we are sure that what he told us between June and July?
Well, is this constitutional? Yes, the Constitution, does it state that no, you can do without having these people there? It can just be a solo thing. I'll do the running around myself.
I don't think it is. As a matter of fact, it is not constitutional. But over the years, we have seen expressions of impunities on the part of governors, particularly the governors. You recall the ex-president, President Olusegun Obasanjo, recently forwarded a letter to the National Assembly and to the president, pointing out the impunities of governors. As a matter of fact, in that letter, he called them emperors. He said they are emperors. And I think that description is apt, because if you look at the conduct, attitude of governors, it is sure that they are really emperors, because they respect no opinion, they respect nobody. As a matter of fact, they don't respect the players in their government. Some of them don't even have respect for their commissioners. They address them anyhow, they talk to them anyhow.
The special advisor to the governor on media, Mr. Yomi Lainka. Hello, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yes, how are you today, sir?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you for being a part of us. I know you are such a busy person, but let's just quickly take 1 or 2 minutes off your time to ask a few questions. People have been clamoring and they've been asking, why is it that His Excellency has come up with a list of caretaker committee chairmen and not appointing the chairman on the go, sir?
Well, the normal procedure, of course, is to send a list of nominees for those kinds of positions to the House of Assembly.
Okay.
And it's the responsibility of the House of Assembly to carry out their oversight function and approve the recommended list that the governor has submitted to them.
Right.
So that's the procedure. The House is yet to return with the verdict of approval for all members on that list, or those who may have issues to deal with. So the governor has the right to say.
Well, how many more days or how many more weeks or months are we looking at that we probably will have this effected in the state?
Well, that will be a question best directed at the House of Assembly. They have their procedure. What the government has done is to present these to the House, and the House does have its own procedure, as I said, and I think they are in a better position to tell us or tell you or what time they will be done with the scrutiny and appraisals that they are undergoing.
All right, sir. It's been almost a year since the governor came into power. And why don't we have commissioners up until this moment?
Well, that has been dealt with in the past. But the starting point of that is that, yes, commissioners are a constitutional imperative, but there is also nowhere in the Constitution where there's a time limit to when commissioners need to be appointed. But more importantly, is that governance has not been abeyance, has not stalled, because agencies of government have been running. The thing to also add is that, as you probably all know, funding has become a critical issue confronting most governments across the nation. And one of the ways that some governments, including ours, has had to deal with that is to hold down on the political appointees that may create an increase in the number of people that government has to cater to, especially in terms of salary. As you are aware, many states, including ours, are owing workers' salaries, and appointments of political appointees, of course, exacerbate the situation. And so the governor has been in constant dialogue with political associates and potential nominees to explain to them implications, especially economic implications. However, often the government is in a position to deal with that issue moving forward. And the governor has said in the shortest time that announcement will be made. So I think we are soon going to hear of the appointment of commissioners.
All right, and then looking at local government level, why don't we have local government elections instead of just appointing caretaker chairman or caretaker committee? Would you say it's because of the funding you mentioned earlier on that we've not had local government elections?
No, the issue of local government elections is strictly speaking a legal issue. As you probably know, there have been cases in court in the last 5-6 years.
You've actually heard, Ayub Fagbemi, this morning that funding has been a challenge to the bringing up of all these people, and that's why we've not had them come up in place right now. Now, aren't there certain amount segmented for stuff like this? Commissioners, they are they not part of the civil service?
Public service.
The public service people, are they not supposed to, like, okay, there's a stipulated amount that you could get? If you actually picked up 1 million monthly before now, look, the country is going through a whole lot. We will bring it down to 500,000. Can't that be looked into?
I think the governments in Nigeria have not been truthful enough. That's the problem we have with Nigerian governments. There are so many things that are still held up to their chests. They have not told us Nigerian the real truth. Would any Nigerian hold up to the fact that he knows the total amount of money a governor takes home every month? Who will tell you he knows how much the speaker or any member of a House of Assembly takes home per month? So so long as the governments are not willing to come whole to the people, so how will people appreciate their problems? If the governor cannot tell, it is not good enough a reason to tell us that you are not appointing commissioners because of death of finance. I don't think that is quite reasonable. As a matter of fact, it's very ridiculous because this is not the first time Nigeria is going into financial distress, so to say.
Okay.
And we have come out of it. Not appointing commissioners does not solve that problem. No governor can run a government all by himself.
All right, I'll hold you down. I think Yamila Inka is back on air. Hello, Yamila Inka, sir. Okay, great. Quickly, let's just... you were actually trying to help us out, telling us about...
Why we don't have local government elections?
The local government elections not taking place.
Yes. As I said, during the last regime, some 7 years ago, the State Electoral Commission was dissolved. And some members of that commission went to court to overturn that decision and to also ask that all their remuneration to be paid up to them because they felt that the Ladoja regime dissolved the commission without the expiration of their tenure. In any case, the case had to engage with those people in court and ask them, can we take this out of court and resolve it? And so that has been resolved. But there are a few other cases in court. In any event, that has been the main reason why elections have not held, because you cannot go on and hold an election when you don't have a state electoral commission, which the law court does not want to do, because the law court has not ruled on that issue. Anyway, so there are a few other cases, but the main one has been resolved. And therefore, the government is in a place to start on the process of electioneering into local government. But before then, and as you can expect, it will take 5-6 months to compose the electoral commission, get them approved, get them go through the due processes of security checks, House of Assembly approvals, and all of that will take 2-3 months. And in addition, you would have to have a situation where the political parties are involved in the process of campaigning, nominations, and all of that. That will take another 3 or 4 months, 6 months later. If you recall, the governor said recently that he is assuring people of Oyo State that now that we've resolved the legal issues, by June, July this year, the elections will be held. Between now and June, July, we need to have some governance in place. And that's why the local government capital committees are coming on to hold on between now and the elections will be take place by about June.
Mr. Yomilayinka, let me ask you this question. How much of hold do you think Oyo State people can accommodate, considering the fact that several times they have been promised several things, and several times those promises have not been realized? Do you think?
Which is the example of promises that were promised that were not realized?
Let's pin on this local government election. I appreciate your explanations, but in case the government fails, how much of absorption do you think Oyo State people will be able to take?
Well, Oyo State people are the ones who elected this government, so the government will not act against the interest of the collective of Oyo State to start with. More importantly, we are human beings. As I said, issues are in court, and the government does not have control over all these factors, and therefore, if anything changes, it will be obvious to the people of Oyo State why those things change. And the truth of the matter, as I said, is that matter was in court long before the Ajibobi government came into power. And it's been resolved now by the Ajibobi government. So it shows an intention to resolve the issues. In any event, let me add, the Ajibobi government has contested elections twice, statewide, as the government. And therefore, there's no fear in the heart of the Ajibobi or the APC government that formed the APC party that formed the government to go out and contest elections and win. In any case, as you probably know, in many places where elections have been contested, there's been essentially a rubber stamp issue. So if Ajibobi had wanted a rubber stamp election, he would easily have had it. But he did not also demand that commit himself to the rule of law. And he has observed that very, very important. In this instance, he will not renege on his promise to get this done as soon as all the issues on ground are put in place. And all Oyo State citizens are encouraged to participate in the process and encourage government to do the issues. Certainly, the Ajibobi government does not have a tradition of reneging promises.
Thank you very much, Mr. Yomilayinka.
Thank you very much.
I will do have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, you're still on to Impact Business Radio, IBR 92.5 FM, and the program right here is Rise and Shine. And we've been able to speak to know what is the extent at which we have to wait before we have authentic local government chairmen and commissioners in the state. Just spoke to the special advisor on media to Governor Abiola Ajimobi. Okay, let's get back to Ayo Fagbemi live in the studio with us this morning, and thank you. You heard everything said by Yomilayinka there. We will have to wait. In the next couple of months, between June, July, we definitely will have credible elections, and everything will kick off in earnest.
Yeah, just like some people have said at some fora, they said Oyo State indigenes had waited for 4 years. So how much of waiting will they have to, of waiting, will they have to encounter in the next 5 3, 4, 5, 6 months. He has promised June, July. Let's wait and see. But my fear is that this autocratic principles of me doing it alone, I hope it will not jeopardize the interest of Oyo State indigenes. Because if a governor is a sole administrator, then it portends a lot of danger in a democratic practice. And I hope that will not happen in Oyo State. Because Oyo State people are very quiet, seemingly timid, so to say, not timid, but seemingly timid, because this culture of respect, this African culture, Yoruba culture of respect, is very, very deep in Oyo State. And most of the time they watch their leaders, even when they are cheating them. So I hope the government will not allow Oyo State indigenes to transmit this feeling into deception. That is just my fear. I just hope so.
I asked a question just before we took that call. I was like, now, this in a democratic country, in a democratic state, you're just giving us some caretaker committee chairman. This is the grassroots level. Won't it be better when the people actually vote for someone they want to rule them? And can these people actually perform the job and the responsibility of the local government chairman?
They can't, because they are appointees of the governor, not even of the government. The governor appoints them. They are appointees of the government, and they must discharge their duties within the framework of the whims and caprice of the governor. So that's why you would know that the governor only needs to dispense certain amount of money for them monthly as running cost. Maybe 200,000, maybe 400,000. Sometimes it was 1 million I learned, but I think now lately it has been 400,000 before they were dissolved. So that's just to run the local government, and that also portends a lot of danger, because if you go to 33 local government secretariats in Oyo State, they seem to be grounded. As a matter of fact, the secretariat in Agodi seem to be grounded because nothing is happening. No, the running grants, so many things are because if you keep complaining, this no money, isn't this big enough to ground the government? Big enough to ground, because even to write memo, paper to write memo, it's a difficult thing in the Secretariat of Oyo State and some states of the Federation, not necessarily only Oyo State. Some states of the Federation, for instance, look at Osun. Nothing seems to be working in Osun because there is no government in place. We have, where you have a governor and there is no government. I think it's an aberration. It's a paradox. You can't have a government and a governor without having a government, because without a state executive council, then there's no government in place. We only have Governor Ajimobi. There's no government of Oyo State because there's no state executive council. It is the state executive council that gives him the authority to perform as governor.
Okay. All right, you're still on to Rise and Shine at Impact Business Radio, IBL 92.5 FM. And if you're just joining us, we've been looking at the fact that we don't have local government chairmen, we don't have commissioners right here in Oyo State. We're looking at why is this so.
Let's just get back to your fact with me here this morning. The elites in Oyo State, why are they quiet? Have they been bought over, or just as you rightly said that, yes, a little bit timid?
Culture of respect and what.
Okay. Is this why they are just quiet?
This idea of Babasa, Temimole, Koja, and whatever, Because I don't understand why for God's sake, this is the cradle of the Western region. So, because every other state had been born out of this state. Every other state had been removed from this state. So, I don't know. Each time a section of this state is removed, the people in this area becomes more docile. For every state creation that we have been witnessing since 1976, it seemed to me that docility keeps increasing, because I wonder why elites in this state are not questioning the impunity or the supposed or seeming impunity of the government of Oyo State. I'm surprised. Go to schools. Nothing seemed to be working. There were 3 schools that were pulled down sometimes. They said they were going to build model schools. Up to now, nothing has been done. Those schools are just pulled down, and it's affecting teaching and learning. There were some schools in this state only for the government to say those schools were going to reduce. From 960 thereabout to about 500 and something schools. There are some principals now, as I'm speaking with you, there are some principals in the state who are just sitting down. Because in a school, there are about 2 or 3 principals in one school. And the principals are just sitting down doing nothing.
Commissioners, they have their duties. Who, the permanent secretaries are actually filling this gap?
Yeah,
this gap.
the lacuna.
Now, but is this constitutional?
It is not. You know, when President Buhari came to power in May last year, he held on to the permanent secretary for a long time. He said ministers politicians are noise makers, they are lousy, permanent secretaries are technocrats and whatever. But there was a limit to which he could hold that belief in practical terms. So at the end of the day, the man had his ministerial appointments. So why would the governor, why would some governors, particularly these 2 governors, these are the 2 bases of Western region, of Oyo and Osun, decide not to have commissioners? I mean, because it's preposterous. It's very ridiculous. In fact, it is a political abnormality for a governor to come to ground without having a state executive council. I've never heard it anywhere. It has never happened in this country. It has never happened in Oyo State. We had Bola Ige. We have several governors in Oyo State. Not once have we ever gone through this type of impunity.
Just here,
Yeah.
in Oyo State and Oyo Osun.
You know, and those are the 2 bases
of the Yoruba
of
land.
Yoruba land. Yeah,
And,
the
it's
2 of
just
them.
here that stuff like this can happen.
Because if you look at the political configuration of these 2 states, it is domiciled. These 2 states are domiciled by very poor and illiterate Yorubas, and those are the things these people are taking advantage of. Because you know, anytime you need them, you can always go to them. If you recall the last election, our governor in Oyo State went to the extent of having meetings with Iyoniru and Iyoniyo. At that point, he was able to identify with them. Well, as soon as he got what he wanted, what happened? He did it before in 2011. These same people were the victims of his administration. He did it again in 2015. And they are becoming victims, sorry, because if you go to town, people are crying. Nothing is just moving in Oyo State, particularly Ibadan land. And the people, you see, we need to speak the truth. This state belongs to all of us. It does not belong to one governor. It does not belong to one party. Oyo State is not a one-party state. Oyo State has a lot of parties. It's a multi-party dimensional structure, just like Nigeria. So why would somebody not be overriding the values, interests, and perceptions of others?
There are plans he probably will put in place, and in the nearest future, his name will be written in gold.
Like somebody said, if Governor Ajimobi would have to be very, very conscious of one fact, that he needs to do good and do well, like you said, so that his name will be written in gold. Because the reverse will be the reverse will come if it does not do the needful. Because a lot of people had so much respect for him, 2011, and people even said, very handsome governor, Atini governor, Otejo governor. You know, people had so much interest in him, but what people saw at the end of the day is not what they expected. And to chronicle, this is a man who is coming for the 2nd time. It's an occurrence, a first-time occurrence in Oyo State. It has never happened before for one person to win election twice in Oyo State. I think that is good enough. It's good enough a glory that will make somebody, that will energize you to do good for the people. For people to elect you twice, I'm telling you, if I were him, I would be dealing with people on the streets. And so that people will know that I will appreciate the fact that they love me. And I will be able to express my love also for them. But what people are seeing is like, this is a governor who comes he comes into the country 1 week, 2 weeks, he goes back outside. Since May 29, he has not been stable in government.
Wow.
So nothing is happening.
Now, the fact that we don't have commissioners and local government chairmen, don't you think it gives room for corruption? Now, let's look at it this way. The people who are supposed to report to the local government chairman are supposed to report to the commissioners. Now that they don't have commissioners to report to, don't you think that they'll just do as they like because they don't have a boss to report to? Now, I'm in a local government and I don't have a local government chairman to report to. Don't you think I would just, be corrupt and just embezzle money like I want to and everything? Don't you
Of
think
course.
it would?
Saying corruption would be saying the least. A governor who has no commissioner will do anything, will do and undo. For instance, in the local government administration level, uh, there are federal allocations for local governments, 774 local governments in Nigeria. Oyo State has 33. And since May 29, 2011, up to this moment, nobody knows how much each local government collects. And who do they hand it over to? How do they dispense the money? How is the money managed? We need to be told the truth. Why? How much has accrued to the account, the joint account of local, state and local government? How much belongs to local government? How much have you released to them? How much projects have they been able to do? To say corruption is saying the least.
Fagbemi, before we allow you go, if you had your way, what advice would you want to give out this morning?
You see, politicians are very difficult to advise. As a matter of fact, because they think they know everything. So giving them advice may not even be welcomed. But for the sake of the generality of the indigenes of Oyo State, the governor of Oyo State should identify himself more with the people. So this suffering is so much. Go to the market, people are complaining. Go and see artisans. These are the same artisans whom he gave vehicles. We need to come out of this mentality that when somebody is going to contest election, he gives us rice, he gives us money, he buys us bus. If all these things I've mentioned, how many members of a particular artisan group gets hold of these items? For instance, I've seen some vehicles in town that were bought by the governor to artisan groups in Oyo State in the last election. It's only the chairman and the secretary that are managing those vehicles. So people should learn. Don't support anybody too sentimentally. Don't be too sentimental about politicians. And I don't care whether you are PDP or APC. What you are saying is that how much of delivery have we been able to hand over to the people? So for God's sake, we are not talking of Ajimobi as a person. We are not talking of APC as a party. We are saying that the people of Oyo State need governance. Ajimobi should sit in this country, in this state. He should sit in Oyo State and govern the people, so that the benefits of democracy can be handed over to the rest of the Oyo State indigenous.
Once again, I want to say a very massive thank you to you for coming again, even in the spate of a very, very short time. Thank you, Ayo Fagbemi, for coming, and definitely we know that when we call you again, you will oblige us. All right, Modele, it's about that time.
Yes, so as much as I like to go on and on and on, we really have to go and we really have to leave, because we have lots and lots of lovely programs lined up for your listening pleasure. At about 10 o'clock, we're going to have our news updates at 10, and then after that, we're going to have Blast from the Past and other lovely programs. So we really have to go now. But, make sure you do all, I said earlier on today, that make sure you do all that you seek to achieve. The week has not ended yet. Just because it's Thursday and you think, oh, I can't do anything again this week, you're very wrong. You can still achieve something before the week runs out, because time is going, time is moving. Before you know it, December will be here again, and then we'll say bye-bye to 2016. So make sure you achieve that which you seek to achieve. So my name is Omodele Oyedepo, and do have a lovely day.
Change will not come if we wait for some other persons or some other time. We are the ones we have been waiting for. We are the change that we seek. My name is Olatunde Ido. We'll be here again, same time, same station next week. But definitely, you can join our colleagues tomorrow morning, Opayemi Ochabanjo and
Ibrahim Shita.
And they are ready to go full blast. Thank you for being there, and God bless you. Do have a wonderful day ahead.